hey, you go your way, I go Yahweh. I'm sure nobody would ever misinterpret that. But yeah, Fizz, apparently, I think we're here. I can neither confirm nor deny that, but something from nothing. How does that even work?
I know I should be wary. Still I venture someplace scary. Ghostly haunting, I turn loose.
It's showtime!
Gosh, I'm such a dick. This is my middle name. But hey guys, what's going on? Memes here, and I am joined by my co-host, Fizz. How are we doing today? Aside from waiting on my lazy butt.
Dude, the YouTube shorts are a trap, man. Time just like suddenly fast forwards when you're clicking through, like, oh wow, random bits of information I will never do anything with. Sweet.
But it's keeping you entertained. No, I think there was actually, when I searched Wolf Girl before, a short had come up, and it was that girl in class where it's like, all right, I feel this is really relevant. I think I said to you or Piper, and it was like, well, I guess this somehow makes sense. And she's just like yipping around and stuff. I'm like, I did not expect it to go that way. But I'm like, all right, I think I've met people like that. As long as it's not at the end of a night drinking with a vampire you're not familiar with, that may or may not have a habit of biting people. You need to get them home back before dawn. And then somehow he believed I was a vampire. Long story. I think I've told it before. But, okay. So what you were just talking about right there is very interesting. And let's get into it, because I'm not saying we're going to solve it. I'm not saying that the answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42.
I was about to cut you out just to say 42.
I can even confirm. My personal opinion is 42 explains a lot. 44 explains more. I could be totally wrong on that. The answer may be damn close to 42. But again, rampant speculation. Hey, that's what we're here for. We conjecture ahead. I actually put that in the description because, yes, my rough shot description, because also my iCloud was sucking up all my memory. It's like, well, this is not good. I think I clicked some wrong things. Massive user error. It's like it's supposed to be a terabyte hard drive. How is there like 114 megabytes left? Oh, this is going to kill my computer. Disable iCloud. All of a sudden, you have 700 additional free gigabytes. What? I'm sorry. We won't delve into the side stuff. But what you were talking about there, I conjectured a long time ago on this channel before I actually started to understand some very minimal, some science stuff that I kind of have a very novice handle on now, if even. I said that, all right, maybe there's a mimetic reality. Maybe our reference frames. Let's take what we know in science. It's like as long as you're at the same velocity, as long as you're in the same, they call it the inertial reference frame. What would that mean for, okay, the inertial reference frame is, all right, we're both on a train. We're on the same train. Cool. All right, I'm on a train. You're on another train. For most purposes, all right, as long as we're going exact same speed and accelerating exact same rate, things should more. Okay, as long as we're going at the same speed, I don't want to say acceleration because that's a weird one. As long as we're going at the same speed, things would be relative for us. How would we map that out for something like the internet? Well, as long as you're paying attention to the exact same content creators getting the exact same information, your reference frame will probably be very similar. Now, we each do have our own unique life experience, so if we should plug that into the function, what is that? I don't know, infinitely impossible. Maybe countably infinitely impossible. I don't know. But basically, if our personal reference frames are there, and then again, totally biased. I've been listening to some more videos recently. Yes, and yeah, do it on the internet. But they're talking about the whole conscious aspect. And the whole conscious aspect, I try to avoid that because I'm like, all right, some science things, I can do some stuff and things with numbers. And as long as I get some numbers, I can try to have an interpretation. the conscious awareness of like who we are, what we are, our existence itself feels like it's going to break my brain. And I think we broke Fizz. I think she's asleep right now. Oh
No,
my God.
I'm here. I'm just I'm blocking some senses so that I can absorb more better
Oh,
with
the
some
thinking thing. Thinking
yeah.
Fizz. No, I understand. I do the same
Mm,
thing. I close my eyes. I'm speaking a lot of words right now.
mhm.
But basically, it got me to thinking. I'm like, all right, what if we're trying to line things up perfectly? But it was like, all right, what if it was perfectly imperfect? Like, is that like a thing? All I know is within some of the math stuff, you come across like error correction for CDs. What the heck is that? All right, if there's something wrong, you can still play the song. Like if you get a scratch on a CD, it's not the end of the world because they have enough gap that they can kind of make that up. So you at least have for us coherent music. Okay.
I mean, unless you scratch the ever loving crap out of it, and then yeah.
Oh yeah. I was one of the people that spent far too much money on a Sony mini disc player. Why? The promise of music that wouldn't skip is so alluring,
Right?
especially if you want to go out for a run. Because the normal
Mhm.
CD player, like you could have it mounted just the right way, but if you're moving around, it was skipping. It was terrible. God, now we have these magical communicators where it's like we can connect to the entire world. I can communicate, not just listen to music and or get a whole bunch of viruses from porn.
Right? My
So
favorite CD player was this car stereo CD player that for whatever reason like worked the normal for a little while, and then all of a sudden it just developed this habit of when you wanted to eject a CD, it would launch it to the back of the car and like just like bam, like comical toast ejecting from toaster kind of deal. It would launch CDs like ninja stars, man, like shuriken, just um I loved
I
it because
I
we
imagine
would make fun of how bad the CD was. That was determined by like how far the CD player chucked it.
so I imagine that's what would happen in the Ren and Stimpy verse if one were to like use Powdered Toast Man kind of like as a CD player, and it somehow started to work because it was a slot, so it just made sense that it would work in some realm. And then if he didn't like it, yeah, he'd be like, "No, sir, I don't like it," and they would shoot out in a proportionate distance. But
Out from out of his
aside,
butt cheeks, yeah.
now just because that was the direction he flew in, oh, that actually might make sense. So we'll move on. But welcome, welcome to the people on the internet that somehow either clicked this or were force fed this somehow via an
Well,
algorithm. I I slightly apologize. But hey, Laura, I apologize. I've been in a cave for a while. Within about the past day, started to feel a little bit more chipper. Why? I may have actually done something useful. We'll get into that at a later date. Jack, dude, a the sleeve tattoo. So here's the thing: I'm not good at keeping up with people, especially if they're like very close to me or something. I recently found out in like the past 2 years, like my brother has like a full sleeve with freaking like Frostmourne. He's got like a Dracolich and stuff like that. But he has it in a way that he can wear as long as it's has sleeves long enough, it just covers it. It's kind of like over here, you can barely see anything if you do that. Why? Because there was a stigma before. That's why I like Dr. Tom Crawford. He's a mathematician. He actually did the math of Pokemon, apparently. Maybe we'll actually do that another day because I didn't
ooh,
click on it long enough, and there's some math that I don't quite understand.
Pokemon's
Therefore,
math.
it's currently here's the thing. The thing that I've learned from Thad is all the math you know is simple. All the math you don't know is impossible, but because you don't know how. If you don't know
Hmm.
how, then you don't know how to do it. Just sort of like throw a bunch of rocks, hope something lines up. Don't throw rocks, throwing stones. I think they've discouraged that over the years. But
So that's why accidental math is the best math.
now, nerdy, we joke about the internet police. It would not surprise me if that does become more of an official thing outside of maybe just the UK
I was about to
and
say, yeah, the UK's got internet police.
Is one of the first videos. It was an actual video.
Oh, China. China has internet police too.
It's, China is a very interesting place. Um, okay, we won't get into the. I'm trying to stay away from the politics as best I can. For
Yeah.
once I dabble my toes back in there, I don't think it will go well. But so, dude, see, you run into all these people on all these different platforms. So you have these ideas, and then occasionally you're interacting with people, and then you find out a person on one platform with a similar name was actually a different person on another platform, and then you misperson them. And a lot of times people don't think kindly to that.
Yeah.
It's human brain can only absorb so much. I think that's why we're fascinated by ChatGPT, which it's getting better. The more I'm hearing more and more folks that it's like, all right, maybe they're not necessarily formally trained, but they're coming up with some interesting ideas. And maybe it's just a crazy person thing, because I am a crazy person. But I think, I don't know, I think I can start to understand it. It's kind of like in Rugrats, how like Angelica can understand like adults and the babies, but like the babies can't understand the adults can't understand the babies. But it's almost like that bridge. I swear that was kind of a thing. I think we talked about it. I think you had the thing with your sister where it's like people or Piper did. But it's one of those things. It's like, oh, what are you saying? It's like, I understand. That's your sibling, because it's like, even if it's not necessarily direct language, if you can pick up on enough of the cues, you're filling in information gaps. And that was to bring it all the way around 10 minutes later to what we're talking about for the sciencey stuff. Is that, all right, I'm very skeptical when they say, oh, the conscious observer, but then it's like, all right, so what, if you think about it more, okay, we have a device. What's the device do? The device goes click. What is that? Oh, we take a measurement. What's a measurement? I don't know. It clicks. It clicks a certain amount of times. It's set at this threshold, but it's also, think about this. If the machine is being set up by humans or ningen, if it's being set up by mortals like us, present company excluded, then it's going to be based upon our parameterization. What parameters are we exploring? That was a very, very non-direct way to address a point that I didn't think about before the words came out of my mouth. So, what else is going on? Hey, Keisha, what's going on, brother? How we doing, my friend? But okay, I've heard. What's the Claude thing? Is it because it can actually do some like pretty good video now? Because I see these things, and it's like, I think it depends. Like, it's a tool. I think, Fizz, you talked about this before. It's ChatGPT regarding art. It's a tool. You understand it's a tool. You create something using your tool, and people list like the devices they use, the computers they're on, their systems. Why? It's specs. Because a lot of us are nerds on the internet. We like those specs and everything, and we would like to be able to, let's say, reproduce results. I hear that every once in a while in science for reproducible results. Kind of like that crazy LK9 superconducting thing where people are like, oh my God, this is going to change the world. If true, I think it totally would have changed the world. It didn't pan out. I was cautiously optimistic. It looks like there's some fraud involved. I was trying to give the benefit of a doubt. Yeah. But,
I don't know what it is, though.
Oh, yes, the mortals. Yes. Hey, Fizz got me a dragon. I named her Fizz. Reciprocation. That's what pals are supposed to do. But, okay. Let's take that random, crazy, mind-bending brain exercise that we just did. We're trying to connect all these random things. Does it actually work? Probably not. Does it work in approximation enough that we can achieve something? I would say possibly. Oh, I was supposed to say more words. Something from nothing. Fizz, I think you've talked about this before. Go.
Yeah. In the beginning, there was nothing. That. So yeah, obviously, at some point, Well, at some point, was there ever nothing? Or was there always something? But what is what constitutes something? Because if we're talking about like, okay, you've got a vacuum, that's something. Fuck. Yeah. You gotta narrow it down. You gotta narrow it down for one.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get you to explain just like all of reality as we know. Yes, something from nothing. Go. It's like nobody actually knows. So let's just put it all on the wolf girl. Why? Because I'm a misogynistic a-hole. I believe I'm a classical
also for
a-hole.
for mortals, it's really hard for their mind to actually comprehend there being absolutely nothing. Because what do you imagine when you imagine absolutely nothing? You're still basically imagining black, right? Blackness, blank space. That's still something, right? That's a color depending on which way you're mixing colors. Or lack of. It is lack of being able to see, but how do you perceive nothing? Because the second you try, it's already become something.
That's that's a weird thing because all right, we're observing something. What does that even mean?
It means you
Don't
can't
worry.
observe nothing.
The
second you observe it becomes something.
I think people say that about like the wave function. I think that's as soon as you observe it, it becomes something, but it's different than what it was, and that's I think how you get into many worlds and what many colloquially may refer to as the multiverse. So I think I'm actually asking you to literally break the multiverse right now. Fizz, take us away. Oh, I didn't actually give you a question. Go give us a rough shot, your general origin story. How about there? And we'll map it out from there.
The general origin story, or the origin story of the celestial realm and everything in general,
in regards to weird humans like us.
Because it's still in the beginning. There was, your concept of nothing, right? Well, I'm pretty sure the first thing to exist was an idea, right? Because that's still energy, but it's not it's not a very huge, easy to calculate amount of energy. It's like less energy than a fart, but
it's a minimal ideal thing,
right? There's like a thought, and from there it's like the butterfly effect, where it explodes into all sorts of stuff and things. But that still relies on the concept of nothing just being this big black blank slate, infinite space. Literally, just big, huge space that you can put everything you can think of in.
Let's see I'm a terrible person. Drugs are bad. It's like, oh yes, professional show right here, everybody. We're all going to hell, well, at least me. But so my thought of okay, I actually meant to play a video here. Let me try to salvage any of my self dignity. Okay, Professor Hossfeld did a good thing. I think Professor Green actually details it a little more. All right, what is nothing? He's saying like
the 9 levels of nothing. That already means that the first 8 levels are something.
All right. So basically, she goes into where is it? Nothing level 1.
Before you've ever even heard
no
of
objects. Physics. All right. So nothing level 2. No objects. No air. Okay. Because when we say nothing, what do we mean? All right, no matter. Let's remove the matter from it. Nothing 4. All right, no matter, no radiation, no fields. God, this video is laid out much better than it usually is. All right, nothing 5. All right, that's a lambda. What the heck is it? That's the cosmological constant. That's maybe dark energy.
I was
as
about to say,
some
no
may
more
think.
Assassin's Creed. Okay, got it.
It's literally the minimal form of it. It's that crazy number that if you express it in Planck length squared, it's like was it 122 zeros followed by like a 1, or maybe like 1 4 or something like that. Some
There's
people
something you can
they'll
still
say,
measure, though. There's still something you can measure.
yeah. It's basically that whole. Why does the universe appear to be expanding? That's kind of like where it's going with that.
Because
Okay.
ideas birth ideas, which birth ideas, which birth ideas, which birth ideas. And
It-
all of it is birthing all sorts of matter eventually.
It's funny you say that. All right, let's go to the vacuum energy stuff. Where are we at? All right, 5. Is that another? Okay, virtual particles. I think we already did. This is level 5B, or maybe that was 4. All right. The ideas of virtual particles that many physicists are like, well, they don't actually exist, but we use them because they're convenient stuff. Those aren't there. All right.
So
So
those are
that's
your
the
what
thing.
ifs. You're playing with what ifs.
Yeah. Okay. So we're moving. All right. Now we're on to level 6. No matter, no radiation, no fields, no vacuum, no space, no time, no laws of nature.
I feel like this would be one of the that would go like like no space. That's when there'd also be no laws of nature at that point, like because nature wouldn't exist really either.
Yes. Drugs are bad. But is the universe expanding, or is that where she?
That's the Cadbury egg defense right there.
Oh my God, they have been getting smaller, or
Yeah, they got
really?
called out because they were mega shrinkflation, and so they did an advertising campaign that said, "No, it's not getting smaller. You're getting bigger because you're growing up."
Oh, that seems like a terrible idea because you just could have gone to what the net mass was.
And then the government was like, "Oh shit, you're lying as fuck. No, these are smaller, hey, dude. You're charging the same for less," and trying to gaslight people into thinking they
Oh,
remembered it wrong.
they got subwayed. They got footlonged. Well, the average is only 11.5 inches. You're saying it's a foot long. Wow, that's okay. So we're breaking it down. All right. So at this point, I think physics is done because if there's no laws of nature, I'm not sure what we do. Maybe there is still a way out.
So is this
We're
this
only
is
at
level 6?
Yeah. In this video,
Okay.
it said at least 9 levels. So
That's implying
oh
that
my
there's
God,
still
it's not even half over.
something that can be measured then in
Okay.
some way.
All right. Level 7. Oh, is that the gods?
Ah, shit.
Oh,
Level 7, we remove those too. Theological explanation.
no non-physical entities. All right. So we've removed deity from the equation.
Let's
I
go
don't
run this
even
now.
know if that even works. I okay. I think at this point, I don't think there's reality as we know it, and unless Fizz's idea root is true, which I don't know. So, all right, let's
Idea
continue.
or
All
a
right,
thought or something like
all right. Hold on. Wait, where was 8? No. Why did we get to?
skip 8?
I think.
There's still mathematics that could be said to exist in some sense.
Oh, okay. So we need to get rid of
Okay.
math.
So level 8 is the math. Okay.
Theological explanations end at this level.
Okay. So no, I think she did this out of order, or maybe I'm just. It's usually so good.
Mathematics that could be nothing. For example,
Inflation, blah 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 blah. Okay, so I think that's the point we're getting rid of ideas. All right, so what is 9? All right,
Oh,
here we
there we
go. Now we're getting very mean. No matter, no radiation, no fields, no vacuum, no space, no time, no laws of nature, no non-physical entities, no abstract objects, no
That's the one.
possibilities.
I feel like abstract objects like goes under
I
a
think
lot of these.
ideas.
Like,
Yeah, well, that's
I guess, yeah, we will say possibilities would be ideas.
okay. So we're not gonna just content snipe or it's been out for a while, but
Oh
it
yeah,
was a
don't
good
play the whole
explanation.
thing, but
Feel free
yeah.
to check out Dr. Hassenfelder if
So no
you're into that
possibilities was
stuff.
the 9th level of nothing.
No possibilities. That's
Okay, that
it
is the
basically
9th. That
yeah.
would
So,
be that would be the basically the no ideas. No idea, no thought. That would be true nothingness right there. That is that makes sense as the 9th level of nothing.
I wonder.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is all right. So, oh, I don't even see what you did there, but I have a potential thought. All right, idea. Going to the general Googling of it for you, Oxford. A thought or suggestion as to a possible course of action.
Exactly. Possible.
I think you're correct, Fizz. I think your general base root assumption of an idea possibly being a root there, that seems to make a lot of sense because it's a suggestion as a possible course of action. Well,
Yeah, if there's no
if there's no
possibilities.
possibilities, then I think that stymies all thought.
Mhm. I just like using
Cool.
words that,
Makes sense.
yeah, that are just a little easier to wrap a head around as simple as that.
Wait,
Yeah, a
what?
simplified version of, the bigger thing. That's why I call
Fizz,
everything vibrations instead of breaking it down.
Fizz,
Yeah?
are you saying that this doesn't make perfect sense?
I'm saying that's a lot of pretty colors. I really like that they
I know. To be fair, I feel like ChatGPT may have drawn that. I'm not sure what this is. That a Lagrangian with a? I feel like there should be something else there. That's why I'm suspecting ChatGPT. I mean, like these are a lot of. Actually, to be fair, it would almost the old ChatGPTs would like never spell anything for you. It would always on purpose get it wrong. I think I asked it such a crazy idea for this thumbnail that it actually like delivered because I think it actually spelled something and nothing right. Although I wanted to use another photo because it literally said nothing. Because I'm like I like taking the G's off. Just it's all right. Latency is also a very fun word. Might it explain a lot? I know I lag out occasionally, depending upon the situation. But all right. So after over half the show of trying to get to this point and going through the explanations, as you were continuing to explain our reality before we got into defining of nothing. So if there's no thought, there's no possibility, I would say that would bolster your claim that maybe thought is at the root. I don't know, but all right. So we had a thought. There started to be stuff and things. I think that's where we're at.
And that possibility became potential energy. Right? And then it has to create some waves and that to turn it into kinetic energy. That potential energy happened with a possibility. And something just had to make a move, which was it itself, right? Because there's nothing to stop it. There ain't nothing there to stop it from moving or slow it down or anything like that. What was it that had the thought?
This is Fizz's lore. Keep this in mind. We're going to map it on to see if we can draw some reality out. Fizz,
oh, if I go to the lore, then yeah, it's a deity that had developed from a a thought. It was the first thought, was a deity with no, no form or anything like that. It didn't look like anything. It's formed from possibilities until it became self-aware. And
I was with you up until that. I was about to congratulate you on being attempting to be a good wolf girl scientist, because you're like, oh, if I'm going from this, so you're acknowledging your personal biases, but you're compartmentalizing it out. I'm like, that's using the term "in my opinion" or "in my thoughts" or "in my lore." That I think that explains that whole the past month or so, that whenever people talk about Terrence Howard, it's like he would say interesting things. That man can sing. That man is a smart dude. That man would make very bold claims with high levels of confidence. And then people were like, well, a lot of other scientists have been saying things that don't seem to make sense. I'm sure nobody would ever get political during a time of crisis here's the thing. When you say things and you make very bold claims, it's like, okay, is that true? Or are you saying, rather than this is the case, I think, or I claim? That's why a lot of times I'll say, I claim this. Why? It's a claim. I think it comes down to, I think the meme is, what is it? Nobody would ever express their opinion as fact on the internet.
oh yeah, no, my lore uses even easier, things to grasp. It gives you more visuals early on, something to see early on. The lore is based loosely in science, but it just decides in the lore that this is how it works, because those gaps needed filled in enough to make a damn story. So it hardcore quickly humanizes a lot of looser concepts and goes straight into then incorporates actual human mythology. Humans have made up a million different deities that do all the different jobs, all the different things that they see happen. And the story in general is to piece together the fact that the wild ideas and humanizing the wild ideas in actual scientific calculations can be the same thing. You can science the shit out of magic, basically, or magic the shit out of science, depending on where you use it. But basically, it's going to bring attention to humans don't have the innate. Humans are made different from deities. Deities are pure energy, which is why they can create just out of their imagination half the time, or just convert matter into different forms. It's just how the celestial realm kind of works. And humans are figuring out how to get similar results, but manual labor the hell out of it. Okay, deities, okay, I'll fly because I can fly now. Who's gonna stop me? Humans are like, oh well, we got fucking gravity over here. So that we gotta.
We can turn some wheels because of those waterfalls. It's like in the water. The water's going. Oh, that's actually how my hometown was built.
Humans figure out how to basically, if you want to make it even more, humans are figuring out how to harness nature and their own elbow grease, and physics and make it work for them. Whereas in the celestial realm, it's just that they get to make the nature. They're creating the universe rules and they're bending them kind of for the most part. For them, it's all about changing the different states of matter. Whereas humans are more a physical entity and a mortal entity and have to do things physically. They're finding physical ways to do the stuff that celestials can do by skipping all those steps and going straight into I'm going to change this energy into anything right now.
Well, this
yeah, it's true, man.
Yeah. From Arthur C. Clarke, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that was how Professor Keating used to start off most of his podcasts and everything. And I heard that. I'm like, that's a fascinating thing. And then I thought about it. And I'm like, are we talking about the same stuff? Because it's like, stuff like ball lightning and stuff. That's apparently a thing. There are videos on YouTube. You can see ball lightning. What is this?
Right?
It's literally a ball of charge. It's like a freaking floating Rasengan that will float around and maybe occasionally like go into a light socket and all of a sudden it'll trip a break. It's like, how does that work?
Yeah, basically, if we're describing the deities and stuff in the celestial world, it would be, well, they can make that ball lightning when they want, like, because they know how it works already. They've unlocked the details all the way down to the fact that they don't need physical bodies anymore. Like, they are that much energy. Humans are meat suits, run by just enough energy to run the meat suit, and
like 20 watts for the head, yeah.
Right? So humans have to figure out a different way to accomplish the same stuff. And humans, as they advance, they're advancing because they are figuring out how shit works. And as soon as humans figure out how shit works, they figure out how to make it work the way they want to.
So we can do more stuff and things. It seems like as we become, I don't want to say more certain, maybe less uncertain about what might be going on. I think that gives us more degrees of freedom. I think that's what it is that might hold up. I'm basing that argument on, I think, thermodynamics. That whole, the second law of entropy. It's like, well, entropy tends to increase. It's like, all right, what's a lot of entropy? I would claim human beings are a lot of entropy. It's like we do a lot of stuff to the things around us. Most of those mountains have been just chilling, and then occasionally we start sticking a whole bunch of dynamite in and blasting away. Why? Delicious, delicious resources and/or roads. I apologize to my libertarian friends. I had to. Yes, it was very interesting. Okay, so we don't need that. All right. So it sounds like let's try to map this out. Let's try to take the deep lore within.
Wait, is Rick Jacksaw?
I don't know. That's one of those things where I'm kind of unsure about who these different folks are.
I'm so confused.
What, Fizz? Are you saying that you got confused while on the internet?
Oh yeah, that happens regularly.
Yeah, all right, about par for the course there. I don't. Nerdy, you are a mind-bending rodent pickle in the verse that seemed to know how to use all this like Dolly software and like actually know how to code some things and stuff before. I'm just like looking, and now I'm like, oh my god, I still don't know all these things, but you show it enough where I could actually at least try to copy those things, and then I use the fancy Chat GPT to try to write the code for me, and it works surprisingly well. Thank you. It's hey, we might break the multiverse, but we would never break the fourth wall here. It's only that's only allowed for Mr. Mint, Deadpool. Hey, you lug, what's going on, my dude? How we doing? Hopefully the other incarnation. Oh my god, Fizz, you have a stuffed dragon. You have a motor vehicle. I think this is the second coming of Fizz. Kind of like Brawly, except another one, not miraculously, just saved because reasons. Plot armor. We want to use the villain again. We did not need a Brawly movie. I'm sorry. We really didn't. It was just, you could have done something there, and then you're like, sorry. Okay. See, these are the things where it's like, people complain about a lot of things that came out recently. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's a lot to complain about. I've been busy doing other stuff and things. But I also remember some of the terrible things that have been out there before. It's like people like, oh my god, I love Super Mario. Yes, Super Mario is good. And then you realize that, oh my god, the first time I ever played Super Mario when I was like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 years old, because it was one of the arcade machines at a freaking diner. Don't even think I had an NES, and I had an NES probably pretty early, probably early 90s, somewhere in there.
Oh, I
And then you
never
realize,
saw Mario on arcade machines, except for his role in Donkey Kong.
I, I no, if you go to like a classical, all right, so at least in Salt Lake City, they kind of have this dive bar that's kind of like an arcade. So it's like, it's literally a dive bar, Dave and Buster's.
Oh,
So take the place that like we went to out in like Ohio. Yes, that whatever that
that
arcade
arcade
thingy
thing.
was. All right, so
Yeah.
that had like newer stuff and things. Take like the old school stuff and things that were probably literally bought at yard sales and stuff. Put it in like a ground floor, like one of those places that you literally enter from like the street level. You go down and everything into. And they actually had an old Mario game. I was terrible at it because you got to use like the joystick and stuff, and you're so used to like doing the controller, and our inputs are different, and it's yeah, I don't know. It's the whole point of that was yes, Super Mario's been around for a long time. A lot of folks like Mario. I can almost guarantee, not all, but a lot of folks that love Mario nowadays never watched the original Super Mario Brothers movie, which I would claim is a decent sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
Not
it's
a good
just
Mario
a
movie.
weird Mario.
I'm sorry. I am a stickler, just like I would say the '98 American Godzilla with Zilla. It was a good monster movie. I was in a Godzilla movie. Although at the same time, I would claim the animated series Godzilla was a Godzilla series. What the defining factor? I had atomic breath. I mean, that's ultimately what it was. It's like these are the main characteristics of a Godzilla. It's like you can change the form if you're going to change it that radically, and you're not. And they tried to cheap out. It's like he roars. Here's some vehicle. Something catches on fire. I'm like, no, man, no. And you're doing the whole. Well, he eats a bunch of fish, so he's got this gas. So wait a sec. You literally. All right. So Godzilla burps are equivalent to cow farts. Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're saying? And I'm just like, those were things. That's why I'm like, all right. If your only thing with Mario is like, oh, Mario, some cool, fun games. Oh, Smash Brothers. I don't know. I was born and Smash Brothers came out. Like these are the reference points of a lot of folks out there. And if their only Mario movie that they know of was a more recent one, which to be fair, I still even haven't seen yet, but apparently it was pretty dang good.
I don't know why that reminded me that I finally figured out how old I am.
Oh.
I don't know why that reminded me of that.
Wait. Super Mario reminded you how old you were? I thought that was like an obscure thing, and you're not supposed to ask a lady her age.
It is obscure, and no, it was you saying how like you were I can't remember how old when the Smash Brothers came out, and so for the longest time, guys, I've been telling people I was in my thousands, which is still really young for a Celestial, super young for a Celestial. No, I'm like in my hundreds, so I'm like a baby in Celestial terms. But to be fair, I'm a Celestial beast and not a actual like.
Does that make it better or worse?
Our lifespans are a lot smaller than actual like gods and stuff. So 100 isn't 100 compared to a Celestial is a baby. Just in the fact that like when your dog hits middle age, it's still a damn puppy. You know what I mean? Like.
So You're a consenting adult here, right? You're on your own volition. You can do that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking because apparently this.
Yeah, we don't get adult forms until we're like adult years in celestial years.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you weren't lollygagging me. I am going to hell.
No, and I'm a
oh.
created celestial beast instead of a spirit beast, so my age shit is even more different.
And Godzook, you know what? No, Nerdy and Lugnuts are right. Okay, all right. That is also Godzilla. Even though we Hanna-Barbera green eyes the heck out of it, because Godzilla is typically like a charcoal grayish color and everything. People, I don't know. I think it's one of those things from dinosaurs and stuff. It's like, well, dinosaurs were obviously green. Why? Oh, we just portrayed them as green and stuff. Even like the one at the Museum of Science, like they have like the full-size T-Rex, not the actual skeleton, just a model. It's really cool. So you can go up to the second story, you see the thing, and it's like, well, it's obviously green. It was also green in Dino Riders. Why? Because that's obviously how they act. So I think people actually translated, oh, big giant lizard thingy with tail, teeth, and claws to obviously it's a T-Rex. Because
I do kind of wonder why, like, everybody just kind of decided reptilian equal green by default.
I wonder why. I don't know. This was only my childhood. I'm like, all right, so you got that.
Well, yeah, before that, like, why scientists kind of decided to portray everything green, especially after finding out that not all of them are reptiles.
So I don't know if that was supposed to be that was actually Diplodocus, the like more apatosaur thing there. I think this came out. Actually, maybe it came out before that they realized was. I think the Brontosaurus wasn't necessarily I think they combined the Apatosaurus with like the Brachiosaurus, and like they kind of had like the bones together. So it's like, oh god, that actually makes me think. I'm like, well, were dinosaurs kind of like horses too? It was like one of those things where it's like, all right, you can have a horse, you can have like a donkey. So is it kind of like in Shrek, where if you get like a donkey and a dragon, you can get donkey dragons?
There's a mule of the dinosaurs there. Freaking.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. These are. I mean, I love them.
Questar and his people were forced into battle. The power of their step crystal ripped a hole in the fabric of time, sending them backward to prehistoric Earth.
I mean, for the 80s, it's the most coherent story you can think of. It's like, all right, spacefaring people that look a lot like humans and stuff like that. Well, they obviously had some shiny geometric thing that was giving a lot of light. It was a crystal, so it obviously gave them power. You had it. Hold on, where is it? We go to the actual beginning because, oh god, this is beautiful.
Behind!
It's like 1986.
We've only one chance for escape. Turret, prepare for space-time energy projection.
But the step is damaged. We may not have the power to make it.
Oh, okay, so you got a guy there. Let's remove Scotty's accent. All right, so what do we get here? All right, we got Picard
boring
with hair.
Scotty, because Scotty needs his
step
accent.
now!
Oh, all right. They're trying. They're trying.
Superstar. I'm giving it all she's got.
Rip off and just pull memes from everywhere. I never really watched Star Trek until more recently and everything. And I'm just like, oh, I heard that. Then when people do the memes, it's like, I'm giving her all she's got. I'm like, my reference point was like, like Turret. I didn't even remember his name until now. And then I just to be fair, I probably just assumed that guy's name was Scotty. Why? It's because I'm a deliberate bigot. I'm not going to recognize. Oh my god, it was. I think I'm part Scottish. I think that allows me to get away with this. That's how this works, right? As long as you have enough association, it's hard to keep track. But okay, so obviously this is in the ship of the bad guys. Who are the bad guys?
Lorian starship is going to gamma acceleration, Lord Krudos.
Obviously, the lizard people.
Right? That guy from Inspector Gadget was a lizard dude.
He also has the thing like Krang. So he's got like he has a bowl on his head, doesn't he? Oh. All right. So what are we gonna do?
Engage tractor beam now! Tractor beam is locked onto us.
If only there was a hack.
We're getting a power surge. We may just make it.
They're draining our energy. We're losing power.
Disengage tractor beam.
No. All right. There was a bunch of flashes with lines. That's obviously some form of time travel. I mean, everybody knows that.
That's what it looks like.
I have like such a great appreciation for like a lot of this old like animation and stuff now, because like it's been years, but to be fair, the basic principles that I think I learned in art class apply. It's like, what do? Get your scene, get your background. You can have this whole scene here and then just have stuff move through it. What does that do? You don't need to redraw absolutely everything every single time.
Yeah.
Occasionally that does happen. And then I think there was like the sign at the end of like Naruto Shippuden where it's like, all right, this is literally at like 40, like a 60. It was a crazy amount of like frames for like anime. And it was just kind of like a more of a simplistic fight. But like I had some animators that were talking about it. And then I actually started to notice. And I'm like, oh, there's actually a lot of detail. I didn't even notice. But like artists can like pick up on that, which is kind of cool. Well, that the powdered toast man was okay. We'll get into the powdered toast power levels and stuff later, just because with an anime and even let's say the world is happy. Everything is all good. I would love to just make just like a kaiju channel and just talk about kaijus and stuff like that, and then you got power. You got power now. When you got power scaling, depending on how literally you want to take it, it's like, well, so and so said this, so and so said this. Okay, goes back to that whole what are people saying? Like Terrence Howard's thing, where it's like I think Dr. Eric Weinstein put it well. It's like, listen, you say some interesting things, but it's like watching somebody play blackjack. It's like you're sitting there with 19 and you're like, hit me. And then you just say something more out there.
That is so dumb. Why would you do that?
It's like, sir, you're at 23. Bust. Hit me. And it's like you're doubling down. Now it's like if you're just talking, and again, to be fair to Joe Rogan, it's like he classifies himself as like, I'm a He's like, I'm a pot smoking comedian. It's like, take it for what he also happens to have the largest podcast in the world. So it's like, it's also that you have a platform and cool. And then I think Dr. Eric Weinstein did a pretty good job. It's like, listen, you're saying some things. I'm going over some other things. It's like, maybe this thing that you have actually based upon your mistake may be useful. So it's like, this could be a thing. I have no idea, but
memes. Not gonna lie, but I have no idea how we went from Dino Riders to Cinnamon Toast Crunch to Joe Rogan.
I don't know either. So
as soon as we got to Joe Rogan, that's where I was like, okay, you know what? I think I lost the plot here.
Well, at least I'm not alone. See? Thank you for being my longest surviving co-host. That I think
I'm usually good at explaining the plot to the chat, and this time I was like, nope, I'm lost too.
Well, it's good to not be alone out there in this world. But all right, let's end with all right. How the heck do we get something from nothing? Or okay, to be fair, I don't have an answer for that. I remember Kurt J. Mungo, shout out to Kurt from the Theories of Everything channel. He asked that, I think, on Twitter and YouTube and stuff at one point. So I gave the very conceited answer, 1 over nothing. But before I did that, I'm like, does that actually make sense? And so I did. No, excuse me. I was wrong. I didn't do 1 over 0. How does one get everything? 1 over nothing. So that's important. The reason why, or at least
Zero's a thing.
Well, it gets even more funky. So if we do 1 over nothing, it gives us this result. All right, so you're like infinity, but it's got a little twinkle on it. What the heck is that
Yeah.
little sprinkle? What is
Yeah, it
that
has
thing?
some seasonings there.
Let's
Yeah.
wait a second. That's complex infinity.
Ooh.
So what does that even mean? Personally, I don't know. Apparently, there's different forms of zeros or something, but if you do 1 over nothing, you get complex infinity. So I'm like, all right, it's infinity. It's complex. That was good enough an answer for that. Probably wrong, but oh, that means Lobo's at his time. So,
Well, that was Mr. Miyagi is wrecking
oh,
some stuff right now, Mr. Miyagi. He's very
uh,
upset. I will say this: if we had absolute nothing, where if we agreed that absolute nothing means no possibilities, if we go to that far of nothing, then I don't see how there's a possibility of getting something at that point. If we're that level of nothing, I'm not sure there's a way to create something out of that because the possibility is not there.
it's a very good point. My only solution to that would be, what if it was both? I am invoking the concept of superposition. I'm invoking it's both things. I have no idea. That's complete rampant speculation, but just that's where my mind goes to. I'm like, what if it was both and it just does thing? Just does a thing. It picks. I see. This is why it's. Let me look at the stuff and things that are there. I realize that. I'm saying that. I'm sure at some point I will. God, I presented a dang post. Actually, the poster was on current state, not the actual genesis of said state. Have some ideas. Can almost guarantee they're wrong. They're wrong, but I'm trying to be less incorrect. And maybe that's the best you can hope for in life. So, Biz, you got some stuff and things going on? Doing some Twitch tonight?
I like the idea of that being like a motivational phrase. You're not always right. You might not always be right, but it's better to be less incorrect than wrong. I don't know, something like that.
We can be less wrong, I claim.
So tonight on Twitch, I'm powering up X-Plane 11, even though it says it's not for commercial use, which I don't know how you commercially use a flight simulator game thing. So that's cool. And I'm going to try these this flight yoke. God damn it, Malky! For the first time, and this game for the first time. And since I wanted to do this way back when I had like this airline disaster kick where I was learning, I was using really horrible ways to learn how these planes work and how they fly and what can go wrong.
You're recreating the accidents, or?
Yeah, let's do that. First, I gotta freaking remember how to fly the dang things because I wanted to do this like a year or two ago. That's when I was on that kick. Yeah, so I haven't watched those documentaries in forever. I guess I need to rewatch all those documentaries soon. So this time will be completely from memory, which we all know is super duper reliable, right? Yeah.
No, especially when you're piloting an aircraft, of course, because
not just any aircraft, a commercial airline, big old Boeings and stuff. Usually there's a co-pilot, but we're winging it. I hope everybody sees what I did there.
I see what you did there, young lady. So if you want to see potential catastrophe later on Twitch, you can feel free to check out Fizz. Links in the doobly-doo and in the chats. And
you want to know something awesome, though?
Go on.
I was going through the settings, and there really are settings for you to trigger specific in-flight problems for you to try and handle and fix.
I mean, that's why I think it's supposed to be a simulator.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, oh, you mean I don't even have to be bad at flying to cause the accidents? Like, I can just say, hey, I feel like letting the engines go out. Let's go. Uh-oh. Like, something's catching on fire. It even has stimulating hypoxia. Like, you running out of oxygen in the cockpit.
That's actually kind of crazy. So all of a sudden your vision and stuff, oh my God, you can do that with modern technology. Oh.
Yeah, it'll basically, I'm assuming the simulation would be like simulating drunkenness for a while, and then your vision narrows a hell of a lot till you black out.
I was going to say, you just start reducing the gamma and stuff. That was the only way I was able to survive in some of the early nights of like Ark Survival Evolved, just because I had a Mac with a fancy screen at the time. So I just maxed my gamma up on my settings so I could actually kind of see and not be completely blind. I think they patched it a little bit, but I'm like, that was my hack. Oh, dude, that was so terrifying. Just because literally the scene from Jurassic Park where a T-Rex comes out, it's like all of a sudden in the middle of the night, you turn around. There's a giant T-Rex that roars right at you. I'm like, I'm about to be eaten. And all of a sudden, some dude jumps off. He's like, hey, are you new? Here's a whole bunch of leather armor. Here are some supplies and leaves. And you're like, that was cool, man.
To be fair, I said that's cheating, but every game that says, hey, adjust this to where you can barely see this symbol or something like that at the very beginning, usually horror games, I'm like, no, I don't think I will. But I've at least gotten to the point where I don't raise it either. I just leave it as it is, and I'm like, no, I think I'm happy where it's at right now. Screw you, game. I like being able to see a little bit. Damn.
I have not. I have heard good things. I think the last thing I watched something like that was like The Guild or something, which wasn't the greatest series, but I don't know, it hit home because I totally get where they were coming from with that. And
I've read that. And I've not seen it animated yet, but everybody's telling me it's a good, they did good with it, but yeah.
I heard good things because it seemed to make sense, and as long as you hit upon some of the aspects that somebody that's ever played an MMO or something, I think there are certain consistent factors for said reference frame. Is this what Master Splinter felt like? God, well, I am a rat, but just so you all know, no fizzes were heard in the making of this broadcast.
I'm broken. You broke me. Oh no. Oh dear. You guys? You guys! I just want to hug some gold!